Hello everyone. So we're gonna begin with a definition of what is Gnosis and what is the Universal Gnostic Institution of Peru. Definition: Gnosis is a Greek word meaning wisdom of a higher kind. Gnosis or wisdom has always existed in many civilizations and cultures around the world, such as in Egypt, India, China, Rome, Greece, the Mayans, the Aztecs, Incas, and many other civilizations. Where there are human groups, Gnosis arises because man always seeks to cultivate wisdom. The four pillars of Gnosis are the following. Art being the first one, and art can be found in dance, in dances for the sun, such as the Inti Raymi, the Inca celebration to celebrate the the winter solstice. Dervish dances in Turkey is a homage to the universe. Greek dances for different deities. Art can be also found through music, in mystical music from India, China, mystical music of the Andes, Western classical music, such as Beethoven, Mozart, etc. Art can be also found on painting and art. Egyptian temple murals and Egyptian tombs, Cusco school painting, Renaissance period paintings in Florence, Italy, etc. Art can be also found in literature, the Bible, the Quran, the Popol Vuh, that's a Mayan book, the Iliad and the Odyssey in Greece. Art can be also found in sculpture, in Greek Egyptian sculptures, Mayan, Aztec, Inca sculptures, Renaissance sculptures, such as Michelangelo. And finally, in architecture. Art is present in architecture as well. And architecture can be expressed in buildings such as Machu Picchu, Choquequirao, which are here in Peru, the pyramids of Egypt, the Roman archaeological remains, Greek architecture, and Roman architecture. So that is the first pillar, art, and it can be found in many different fields. The second pillar is science. Gnostic science includes the study and practice of meditation and its benefits of the separation of body and spirit as an instrument of investigation of the universe. Occult medicine, gene sciences, that means transporting the physical body to another place without using any means of communication, the development of higher senses, telepathy, intuition, inner ear, etc. The third pillar is philosophy, transcendental psychology, the self-knowledge of the character, the reflection of the consciousness and defects, human selfishness, the self-observation as an instrument of psychological self-control. The fourth pillar would be mystic. The mystic studies the divine part of the human being that has conscience and wisdom of the good and the bad. At the same time, this very essence of the human being is made up of small divine atoms, such as the Divine Father, the Divine Mother, the Angel Guardian, the Elemental Magician, and the Inner Calm. Currently, we are unaware of this, and we are far from our divine essence, and Gnosis will lead us to meet our divine essence again. The difference between Gnosis and modern life. Currently, there is also art, music, and science, but all this is more oriented to practical life purposes and commerce. There is no spiritual message for the elevation of man and the soul, and therefore there is chaos and happiness, and problems of all kinds arise for men and are spread into family and society and throughout the world. What is the Universal Gnostic Movement of Peru? It is a school that aims through its theological practical teachings to achieve the regeneration and balance of the human being and society through three fundamental instruments that are dying, which means eliminating the psychological defects that we carry within our psychology. The second is being born or reborn again, which means reevaluating our creative energy, which is sexual energy, for wise and adequate use of its force with proven scientific foundations. And the third is sacrifice for humanity. It is to practice the first factor, to die, as well as the second factor, to reborn again, and then teach our fellow men, brothers and sisters, free of charge and without basically charging any money, this knowledge without expecting payment or fame, clarifying that only voluntary donations can be accepted. The founders of the Universal Gnostic Movement are Master Samael Aumbeor, who was born in 1917 in Colombia, and he died in Mexico in 1977. He began to spread his work in February 1961 in Colombia through research and practices based on a virtuous and exemplary life. Master Ravolu, who was born in Colombia in 1926 and died in 2000 in Colombia, he continued the work of Master Samael Aumbeor and introduced specific teachings to eliminate psychological defects and awaken our consciousness.
Inferential peace to everyone. It's a sacred greeting of the great masters in the universe, all the masters from the solar hierarchy, and they recognize this way, inferential peace, paz inferential. First, in honor, love and respect to this science, to the Gnostic science, to the introduction of the Gnostic science, it will be good also to remember, to be self-remembering. Self-remembering is to remember our light being, spiritual Father, Mother God, within us. So to remember who we are as a creation of God. So this is was always known by all the great masters and their disciples, adept or all the students. Yeah, self-remembering, of course, is the God as Father is wisdom, is in the throne, in the third eye. God as love is God as Mother is love, as she is in the temple of the heart. Both of them are perfectly marriage, perfectly matrimony. They are always together. And we are the child. So that's our solar light being. Our spiritual body came from the sacred Son, Absolute. So that's why we are solar light beings. Always to remember that. So the judge, the consciousness of them, of the Father, Mother God, is always present in every moment, especially in the ceremony when we are doing the inner work. So that's very holistic way to live. Well, now is self-remembering, yes. Many civilization was there was a way to greet among each other. Always the great masters, they greet among themselves, like a Christos, Hare Krishna, Shalom, Viracocha, etc., etc., etc. So many ways, but they mean the same way because they recognize the from my inner God to your inner God. So it's a great honor, great love and respect to you said. So that's they're greeting uh, among each other. Also, the extraterrestrials families, they also greet like this all the time. That's all. Of course, telepathically. That's a love and light. So that's really honoring. Important always to remember that. Well, about the Gnosis. Well, what is Gnosis? The Gnosis is a sacred wisdom. It's ancient spiritual science. It's a science. Gnosis itself is a science, but not the science that we know. It's a spiritual, esoteric science. It's dimensionally universal science. The other science that we know in this time is a different. It's important that I explain that because not to make a mistake when we speak about the science that we know is more intellectual science or modern science or contemporary science. It's a three-dimensional science only from this world, in this dimension. It's not that multidimensional. It's not universal because the modern science is only valid in this planet Earth, not valid in other planets. You see, so it's not universal. It's only so it's to be clear, not to be confused. There was always an esoteric spiritual science, which is universal, multidimensional, the celestial science or the science of the gods. You see? So when we talk about the Gnosis, that's we are talking that dimension. You see, it's important to know, to recognize, to make it a difference, not to be confused. In this time, in the planet Earth, when the people speak about the science, of course. But when we come to spiritual society groups, so it's really important to remember the esoteric spiritual science, the science of the internal father, mother, the science, yes. So we are. Gnosis is a science. The Gnosis was always existing from the beginning of the civilizations, and different civilizations, of course. We can name many civilizations on the planet Earth, all the way from the Lemurian time, the first civilization on the planet Earth. The founders of the civilization. So they have built temples like Machu Picchu, Tiwanaku, Sacsayhuaman. In Central America, Chichen Itza, Uxmal, Palenque, Tulum, and etc., around the world, many other temples. In Africa, in Asia. So there was a Gnosis school of mysteries, school for saints, school for the self-realization, school to achieve the 100% of enlightenment, the liberation by the consciousness and the spiritual growth. So that's that kind of school was the Gnosis. The Gnosis was always introduced from the beginning of the civilization. Of course, is a great job of the avatars. The avatars, they were always in charge to open these kind of schools for the human regeneration once the humanity have lost the paradise in Garden of Eden. And what they have done, the solar hierarchy, they have planned, divine plan in the planet Earth to open a mystic school, so the men who have lost the paradise, they can recover that knowledge. So that was, they have sent avatars to open a mystic school, so they can, if they study and practice, they can recover that kingdom, not to be stuck only in this human kingdom, you see. So that was really purpose of always respecting the law of the free will, of course. Not never in fanatic way, but that was a great option they had in the time of after the Adam and Eve, we can say the allegorical representation. Those after that generation, it was happening. So we can understand from how long it's coming. The Gnostic science or Gnostic wisdom knowledge is very, very old. It's a school for scientists, for masters. The Gnostic school was for the formation of the masters. It was not a formation for professional people to make money. Of course, I'm sorry that I have to say that, but sometimes it comes some kind of but it was the formation of the masters, no? Divine masters, of course. You know, many masters, you know, like a Krishna, like a Buddha, like a Quetzalcoatl, like many Incas, like a Jesus, like a Cloroastro, Saint Germain, all the saints. So all those from the masters from the Atlantean time and civilization, masters from in the Lemurian time too, many masters. So that kind of, they were the students who got graduated in the mystic school of the Gnostic. In every civilization they had a different name in their own language, the Gnosis, but it was all the mystic school or the Gnostic school, they had the same purpose. So they had the same purpose. It's for the enlightenment, for the enlightenment. That means to achieve the 100% of the spiritual growth and psychological liberation. So that's the enlightenment means to be great masters, 100%. When they graduate in the human kingdom as a god and goddess, always with the husband and wife. The ascension was always for both of them, not only for men. See. So this is a really long time is coming. This culture, original culture, it was only one at the beginning. Still is only one. So the Gnostic schools, they had also around the world all the same topics too, because something like a meditation, self-remembering, all the topics is going in. They practice this, was practiced in all the mystic schools from around the world. That's why masters from every corner in the planet Earth, they have manifest like a different saint or masters around. That's why, what is the mystery? They were studying the same topics, the same purpose. See? Of course, the modern science cannot tell us because they don't know that they don't know. So what they have to tell us? But we have to, we know what is. We know because we are behind. this science to this culture. That's why once we got it back, we are more than happy to be in this kind of school. So it's really great to be with the same knowledge, with the same purpose. Even the really enlightenment can take 2, 3, 4 lifetimes. It's okay, but as long as we have begun, we got it the thread. So well, it's already we can walk this path. Great, never to be boring of the life. Never. We have higher purpose in the life, and it helps to make stable economy, stable psychology, stable relationship in the love life, stable everything. So that's good for one person, for one family, for one society, one country, from the planet Earth too. As we ascend, can make it ascend to the planet Earth. Yes. But the Gnostic school is really, really, really. It was a school in different epoch. The civilization, they had to. There was a. They had to some transformation because, for example, in this time, the Gnostic school, the students, we speak another language like Spanish and English, etc. We are dressed just like a regular, just like everybody else. But 500, 600 years ago, around the world or in the Incas land, we used to be dressed with a native holistic clothes of the mystic school, colors and etc., speaking the native language, but practicing the same topics, see, for the same purpose. So, and now also the Gnostic school in Peru, in South America, they are working in the big cities, small towns or big towns, not anymore in where it used to be in Machu Picchu, in all the sacred sites in South America, because it was taken over by the new system of government. So, not to fight them back, so we have to make it our school with our own economy. Most of the students in Peru and South America have not much money to afford. So it's a sacrifice to have this kind of school to offer to the public, to voluntarily to offer. Well, going back to the Gnostic school in Peru, in South America, we're studying with the same topics, with the same masters, to recognize also the Gnostics, the great job of the avatars is the avatars, they manifest every 2,000 years, a little bit more. It's known as the savior of the world. But it's not to confuse. The savior is the knowledge, and the savior is the people who practice the knowledge. And then, more than that, the inner savior is the internal mother and father. So that's when we practice, we can save ourselves. We can save ourselves from the envy, jealousy, all those personal defects. We are saving ourselves. We are less crazy, less sick, less weakness, less fear. etc. So, but we have to practice, of course. We have to practice all the time to be with the internal mother. And well, so that's the Gnostic school is. It has a character always to. They always teach all the knowledge through the 4 pillars of the universal knowledge. The art, the science, the philosophy, and the mystery. And the art is an infinite way to show to humanity in the highest level the art and the music, art and medicine, art in different, it's a different Gnostic science, it's a different science, it's more fine quality of in so many different ways. And the science too, and the science is not a scientific investigation only in the three-dimensional realities. The scientific investigation goes from in the other dimension, the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh dimension, and interplanetary, plus the spiritual family from all the planets. Also, they help us to make a more investigation, because you see, so, and the science is really the scientist within us, the internal Father Mother. Especially when we go in the astral journey, we can make investigation in the fourth, fifth, in other dimension, you see. So it's really infinite, it's really, well, in the philosophy, is when we open the page of the philosophy, is first we see the psychological part of ourself. So as we integrate more wisdom and love, we become to be philosophy. So we have more philosophy of the life, philosophy about the sex, philosophy. What's your philosophy about this? And different is a philosophy. We learn to think. So the ego, they don't make us think anymore. So we are. Philosophy becomes to be like this. It's always in the consciousness, the intellectual center is always in the services of the internal Father Mother, in the favor of the consciousness, always. So there's no more manipulation. So that's all the great masters. They were philosophers, they were scientists, they were artists, they were mystery, of course. And the mystery, we are always living most of the time in the mystery of the Father Mother. Also the mystery of the ego, we know when they manifest every single ego, we know. Oh, this is my, every time I make my last joke sometimes, I say, oh, this is my Jerry Lewis ego. So I laugh a little bit about my ego, and then I say, oh, my mother, I don't want to have this. So the mystery, is there's it goes and goes and goes. So the 4 pillars, of course, is the 4 pillars of the universal knowledge. Another aspect, how to recognize the Gnostic science and knowledge is from the masters from the solar hierarchy, is because they practice also the 3 factors revolution of the consciousness. This is the main seal of the Inca people too, the main seal, the symbolic representation. So, which is represented in all the temples, like in Machu Picchu, many other places, like a stone with the 3 steps. 3 steps, you see. So, in both sizes, 1, 2, and 3. So that is always remembering. That's was known as the Ark of Salvation. The Ark of Salvation is a symbolic representation, many times represented by the boat. But the Ark of Salvation is really to practice the 3 factors revolution of the consciousness. Also was known as by many great masters, including Jesus. Deny yourself, take your cross, and follow me. You see, the translation is a lot, because the 3 factor revolution of the consciousness, of course, is really the radical way, the vertical way, the direct way, the ascension way, really to grow with no ego. So that's really good. So belief system, it can be good for the humanity. At least they believe in God, but it's an option. Of course, we have to respect the free will. But people who are really revolutionary, they want to do something for themselves in this lifetime. So it's necessary to take. I mean, I say for myself, I'm being revolted. But this revoltness I was taking for the 3, this kind of revolution, because revolution is a sacrifice, it's a war. You know, I cannot make a war again. I can be, instead to be complaining to my parents, or to the government, to the president, or whatever, all this, I take the 3-step revolution of the consciousness. Whatever is happening in the planet Earth, in the society, is so. Well, the 3 steps. The first, like using the deny yourself, take your cross and follow me. Deny yourself, of course. Start denying my envy, my jealousy, my anger, my all this weakness, all this ego craziness or illness or fear, all those imperfection, all those illegal passengers or internal enemy. I'm carrying illegal. Every single ego is, of course, is unhappy by nature. So all this confusion, one by one, I will be taking care in the temple of the love. So this, well, talking only about the first step of revolution of the consciousness, we don't need any other things, because we are really taking care. We are taking responsibility of our own life and destiny, our character and everything. So you see, most of the students are doing that. If they understand that, they don't even read any more books, no more topics. Only that and that, every time that and that. Because you see, so it's a big, it's a long journey in the lifetime, but dying moment by moment with love, but die with the ego, of course. When we give death to the death, so we don't die. We can be safe also from the COVID, because make a longer life. Even we have been programmed to die, but we can change the date of the die just by dying, by changing, by transforming ourselves. Well, the first step revolution of the consciousness only is really revolutionary. It's a sacrifice to the ego. So there's the ego, they don't sacrifice us. We sacrifice to the ego, but the inner mother, we have to ask to the internal mother, because she is the one who sacrifices. in the altars, and the altar of sacrifice here. She decapitates every time we ask, but we have to ask. Well, it will be a special topic about the dead in the Gnostic school. But I'm only giving the introduction, what is the character of the mystic school or Gnostic school, or initiation school, or cosmic university. So the three-factor revolution of the consciousness, of course, is a big step in our lifetime. Well, the teaching this way, we can recognize the teaching of the avatars, is the great masters. And the second step, of course, is another long, it's part of the science. It's also mystery, it's also art. The four pillars is in every one of these, of course. The second step is more beginning to honor, to respect still the energy of the creation, which is the sexual energy. That's it's a cement to build all the light bodies, and it's part of salvation too. There is also to practice that. The white masters, they had to sacrifice the ego of the last, many ego of the last. So because they are like a thieves, robbing, taking energy in many ways, so they can save their energy to grow spiritually. It's a very long topic about the second step. The Incas was represented by the serpent. In many civilizations, ancient spiritual civilization and mystic school was always represented by the two serpents. Two serpents, the Kundalini, male, female, to arise. So that's it's a discipline, of course. About the second step, it's important to know as information anyway, because it's part of the culture. When we ask ourselves why our ancestors they lived 200, 300 years, why the Martian people, Venusian people, they live for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thousands of years, because all of them they practice psychic alchemy. While in our planet Earth, we don't practice psychic alchemy. We are only in normal sexuality, you see. That's a difference, you see. But that's also free will, always free will, not judging, free will. But it's important to know the difference, you see. So it will be part of our studies, you see. The second step is really part of the science, of course, science, holistic science. The third step is, of course, is a sacrifice for the humanity. Do volunteer work, teach what you have learned, share what you know, spread the word. So that's offer your service to God, to humanity, without waiting for any money. So it's unconditional love. So that to people who's looking for that knowledge, never imposed neither. Just people. There's enough people in the planet Earth. They are looking for this kind of knowledge. We can always share this knowledge through the four pillars too. Through the art, the science, and the philosophy and mystery. 4 ways to teach to humanity. So this is it was a lifestyle how the disciple of the mystic school, the adept of the mystic school, how they were living, and they were. Is to create always a dharma to create no more the karma, but more dharma. So that's inspiring to everybody. Every time they are living much better, much better. More solution, everything is solution. But we have to be shared. You see. So it was more easy in the old time, but in this time, since we have no school, so that's we are thousands of people in Cusco. They are waiting for where to go, where's the solution, but we have no places to tell them we are here, because every rent costs so much money. Most of that happening in Peru and South America, in Mexico, everywhere. So Central America too. Well, going back to the three-step revolution of the consciousness, of course, is one of the characters how the mystic school and Gnostic mystic school, it was working always from the old time, directed, led by the avatars always. The avatars, they always want the result will be better, more masters born from every schools. As many masters, much better. If all humanity will become to be like this planet Earth will transform. You know how much transformation will be. It will disappear the social problem, illnesses, wars, all kind of economical crisis. Everything will transform. You see, but it's not happening because this. Of course, the system of education on the planet Earth is a different. It's not spiritual. It's not esoteric. It's just it's a different kind. Well, coming back again to the mystic school, how to recognize the Gnostic school is, yeah, it was. The tradition in the mystic school was always saying when they were in some age, they would recognize their partners in the dream state or in the astral journey. They would recognize their partners and they would get married, and then that was for the marriage was important the spiritual affinity. So that was like a mind. They have the same school, the same education, so they have the same interests. They were helping each other. So that was important in the mystic school. That happened life by life too. They are born also, and with the like-mind family, so it's a long history. Well, not to make you tired, I would like to, if you have any question, yes, always. Well, the reason I close my eyes because I have to getting in my own Akashic book of mother, where everything is recorded there. But so to remember, I go there and then I can share. See, so yeah, so that's why. Well. Yeah, the three steps is always powerful place. If in this time is I recommend always come to my if the new students only from Peru, from other countries too, is beside the theoretical class, it's always good to go to sacred sites, because in the sacred sites like Machu Picchu or like other places, that was a place to speak about this knowledge. And then many things, many rooms are still there, you see. And also we have a physical evidences that was this place was for this place was for this place was for this, you see. I like walking, I like creation, you see. So this is, it was happening until the pandemic has come, and then, so now the mystic schooling is about to be reborn again with this help. We are, it's a place to, with the classroom. It's also basic requirement to have a mystery school, teaching of mystery school, because without that we cannot be in the street like a begging, or like a police are telling us it's forbidden to be here, to have your, or also in the sacred site, when we go, forbidden to go to make ceremony, forbidden, everything forbidden because we are in the public, you know. So it's a really blessing to have one of these places. So thanks that some people have joined us. We are making this this project possible to work in harmony with the material and the spirit. Yes. Well, do you have any question to? Of course, every time in the mystic school also every time we finish the 30 or 50 terms, and then we repeat the same topics, and every time we repeat it's a little bit different. You know? It's a little bit different. Talking about Gnostic school, for example, when Maria Luz speaks, it will be a little bit more a little bit more different. So I will give it now to change Maria Luz.
My name is Maria Luz. Everybody knows me as a Malu. And I want to share a little practice with you to found inside of you to your essence, divine essence. You know, when we born, we have a divine essence, and this essence makes us beautiful, pure, innocent. It's a little sign in each person. So, because of the materialistic life, and we lost the connection little by little with our divine essence. The divine essence have inside divine atoms. These divine little atoms are the internal father, internal mother, the angel, guardian angel, angel guardian, the elemental magician, and many divine atoms. They are inside of us right now, but we are not connected, no? You know, we are not connected. And now I would like to make you to, ¿cómo se dice? Close your eyes. close your eyes by a moment, and then breathe, right? Take a breath 3 times, slowly. Now imagine a diamond between your eyes in the point of the third eye. Is a diamond or a sun, shining sun. It's our internal sun, our divine essence. And we will give the thanks for everything, for the life, for this moment, for to receive the energy, the hug from our divine essence. Thank you, divine essence, for existing inside of me. Excuse me for not be connected with you, but right now I began to connect with you every day, at least one moment, in the morning, in the night, or even when we are ill, depressed, with economical problems, or like now, for all the humanity, with pandemic. In these moments, we have to remember to our internal essence, to be protected by divine forces, and to open the connection of the divine white brotherhood. Well, that's all that I want to share with you. Is a few minutes, maybe, but I recommend you to do that every day, because ego and the world, the material life is very hard, for everybody. And this, I recommend you to do this practice every morning, in the nights, or when you find something beautiful, or even when we are, as I told you, depressed or confused. That's all. Thank you.
So, do we have any questions for Willaru or Malu at this time?
So I have a question about the Temple of the Heart. I was just kind of curious how Willaru views it, connects to it. Just if he could just explain more about like how he sees the Temple of the Heart, visualizations, feelings, what the purpose, sacredness of it.
Thank you, Louis. Did you hear the question, Willaru? So I'll switch with you. Thank you. If you could.
Well, when we come to the mystic school, it's also, we have 2 teachers. Well, external teachers, they're like avatars, also the internal teachers, the internal master, father, mother, and other who are within us. The inner judge, the inner guardian, the inner doctor, and others who are within us. All our spiritual essence, they are only one, because they work as a one group, one team, at the same time, were a little bit different, but temple of the heart, of course, is the inner mother. God as mother is love, and she, you know how much all humanity would like to know about the love, but so the love is really to liberate more virtues of the soul. Every single ego have prisoners in captivity in hell to one spiritual virtue, like one little angel is in captivity by one ego. So every time we die with some personal defect, is one virtue of the soul is get liberation, and that virtue of the soul is bringing the happiness, 1% of happiness, joy, peace, and love. Every one of the virtue is like it's an angel, it's one more point in our favor. It's an initiation. It's an initiation. So that's called the second born. The second born is when we die psychologically with one ego, one personal defect, and then that virtue get the liberation. So that's the second born it happening in the temple of the heart. The internal mother, she does that work because her mission is every time we ask to the internal mother, save me from this defect. She carried out, let's to say, that personal defect. Let's to say, a one alcoholic ego is asking me one beer, one wine, something like this. So, my mother, my internal mother, I asked, mother, beloved mother, I ask her with my soul to cut me off all this alcoholic ego. I don't want, somebody is asking me, not my consciousness, my ego is asking me. So you see, we know at least who's asking, not the consciousness, it's the ego. I know because I was there too. So I ask, and she her mission is that because she works. Temple of the heart is the temple of transformation, a temple of the healing, temple of the sacrifice too, because she transformed. Temple of the heart is also with the altar of sacrifice. She has her golden sword, and her mission is she carried because she loved us. For example, if one mother or one mother, let's say, mother loves to her little boy or girl, and the little boy or girl, or 3 years old or 4 years old, goes outside and see a monster, and monster scary, bad, with a bad intention, and then the little boy or girl come back to the running scary she come back to the room where the mother is, supposed to be the mother, is asking for help, and the mother she can kill to that monster outside. She cannot see that because the little boy or girl was asking really is you see, because she was asking that for help. So the mother goes with piece of stick to whip it or to kill it or to shoot it, or I don't know how you can kill it. So something like this is also, we have to ask what kind of ego is really torturing us, making us slave. Something that we don't like, something strange that we don't feel like. It's no. We know that it's not for the consciousness. It's the ego. It's the stealing. That's why some master were calling good and bad thieves. You know, thief, yeah, my pronunciation. So good and bad thieves is the same. Yeah, they are thieves. So they are stealing energy in so many different ways. So this is, the inner mother is like that, but we have to ask. When we don't ask, she respects our free will. So we have to ask, but we have to learn to ask, who's exactly what to do. So this is mystery, this is because she works in a mystery. It's the inner work, really, it's the inner work. But for example, we see external example, like a biological mother with a biological baby was happening something outside. But using that example, is same mystery is happening inside also. This mystery, we have all in a mystery of the mind, all those Luciferic egos, Luciferic mind. So every one of these monsters, a little in good and bad way, they will be always trying to use us, trick us, asking us, assaulting us, raping us, etc. So that's it's need to do the inner work. So that's the important to know in the temple of the heart. Also, we have to imagine, we have to know that the internal mother is doing her work. We are also a child, boy or child girl, or 3-4 years old, asking to the internal mother to cut me off from this, save me from this monsters, from this ego evil, or ego Satan, or ego. Yeah. So that's the. She works. Her obligation is that she's a good mother. She's a good mother. She loves us, but the only thing is that she respects our free will. You see, that's the only difference. While our biological mother outside, if the boy or girl, she ask or don't ask her, anyway she's protecting from the negativity. You see, but internal is she counts the free will. So if we don't ask, that means we are happy, even we are suffering. So we don't want to change. We don't want to change because we don't ask. So there's nothing she can do. And but when we ask, then she does all this, cut all these bad relations with our personal defects, psychological defects. So that's is a mystery of and the temple of the heart, of course, it's temple of transformation, temple of the love, temple of the to be born, temple to die. It's the fourth dimension, the paradise also. It's the paradise when we just concentrate from all the whatever we have from from the society, when we come from big city, from job, sometimes we have too loaded our mind, so we can just put the mind, we can stay in the temple of the heart. So there is a refuge, also a spiritual retreat. We can be by ourselves in the retreat, to be with the mother, of course, father. Also, so the temple of the heart is a temple of the healing too. Healing. Every time we die with some ego, is a healing, because every single ego is important to know. It's a crazy, it's a illness, it's a fear, it's a nothing unhappy, you see, unhappy egos. So they don't leave us in peace. So because they are always disorders. So if we want to be in peace, so temple of the peace, you see, for many faculties she has. The inner mother, father has many faculties. So that's why it's important to know, in your good question, to know the temple of the heart, the inner mother, of course. Beside our mother, biological father, mother, also we have one spiritual father, mother. Even we don't, our biological father, mother, they don't live anymore. Even they are not too friends with us, or I don't know. It's okay because they are human with ego. They are not free. They are not perfect. So it doesn't matter. The most important, we get the knowledge, and then we can be with the internal mother, father, our saviors, and they can help us we can join to our spiritual essence to become sacred family inside, sacred family. We can be home there, learn to live there. Of course, the everyday journey will be from the intellectual center, from the mind, from here we go up, and then we go, so this way. So this is, the inner mother is really, really important to know, because she helps us in so many different ways. Even when we die, she makes an arrangement with the tribunal of the cosmic justice, also with the angel of the dead of the planet Saturn, angels of the dead, and then to take us when we ascend to the fifth dimension, to the tribunal of the cosmic justice. When we die, she take us there. She accompany us. She will be with us in the tribunal. And if we are good boys or good girls, she defend us. When we are there not doing nothing for us, for ourselves, and then she's just a quiet. You see, she takes care always and always in so many different ways. She gives us awareness, the intuition. She protects us. In the dream state also she manifests, telling us something about tomorrow, what will happen to you, to have good and bad, whatever. So, you see, and she's always with the internal father, mother. They are working all together. God is one also inside of us, but they are interacting among each other. They work together in the community. As you see, it's also community. Yeah. Well, that's what I can share for now about your question.
So I would invite you now to just take a moment to close your eyes And we will do the great invocation. So please pray with me. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light, love, and power restore the plan on earth. Amen. Aho, Wiracocha.
Miigwech.
Thank you for joining us. See you soon.